There we go. Sorry, I'm a little late. Do you want me to run through all these items here? Y-
Meeting with Mike today. I'm not sure if that happened,
Yes,
but
that did
it's there.
happen. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the indexer is complete. It was completed. The Node Fleet team took a look at it, gave some feedback on some stuff that they needed. All that was resolved. Um, and then Max just met with Mike for some, a handoff meeting. And so that should all be in good shape, and everybody should have what they need, which is great. That unlocks Node Fleet to finish the front end, which unlocks a lot of the other teams to eventually be able to complete their work on other kind of front end initiatives. Just because Node Fleet was waiting on Indexer, and the other teams are waiting on Node Fleet, so that everything matches and is copacetic there. So we've then got the NFT staking, which is in progress from James's team. We've also met with James's team for the NFT collection creation front end. We did some extensive um, user flows working with them to make sure that we had everything accounted for. Um, it should be a fairly robust system for letting people create their collections. Again, the plan is at first we will be the ones who are creating them, but we're building it with eventually both whitelisted creators in mind, and then eventually, open creation in mind. Once we feel good about where kind of that creation ecosystem is at. Um, we should be getting a updated link from Node Fleet today for the latest on their progress with a live demo. I've been out of the house, so I'm not sure if that actually came through yet. But if we don't have it yet, we'll have it today, I think, and we'll see where they're at. Um, and then we've also brought on a new team for the IBC Atom marketplace integration. This great guy Anthony, met with him a bunch. He submitted a bounty. He's new to working on Passage open source projects, so we're really excited to be getting some new folks in here that are excited about building this out. So
Yes.
he's going to be working on that, especially now that he has access to um, he'll have access to Node Fleet's stuff as they finish it up. And again, he's been asking some great questions, which is always what we like to see is people who aren't coming in and just saying, yeah, I'll do exactly what was in the RFP, but really saying like, did you consider this? Should we be doing that? So he was doing that stuff, which was great, helping us to make sure that we're accounting for everything, and when we get stuff delivered, it's really what the community needs. Um, so I think those are the updates. There is we hit a big milestone with the indexer being done. The next really big milestone is Node Fleet finishing up their side of the front end, and then all the other pieces will be able to kind of come into that as well.
We got a
Brianna,
couple.
did you and Lex want to talk about the next piece?
Yeah. So we've got a couple of chain upgrades that need to happen. I think we're thinking of them as two separate upgrades. The first one, we've been talking with Vitwit, who has managed all the Strange Clan airdrop process, the airdrop checker website, all these things. They've really handled all of that end to end. So the first thing is a chain upgrade to basically support the bonus airdrop claim. So the 14-month staking period for the bonus airdrop eligibility ends at the end of this month. At that point, we'll need to facilitate some sort of claims process for the community to get engaged and claim their eligible bonus. Um, with that, there is a couple of, I think, upgrades needed for the passage chain dependencies that need to happen for the airdrop specifically. But then there's also just some general recommended upgrades to the chain that Bitwit has recommended. So we kind of want to bundle those two things together. And then I think the reason that it will be a bounty is because not only will they be managing that whole governance proposal and upgrade process, but also updating the claims page, the existing airdrop checker website to be a claims page, updating that whole process. Um, Anil, I don't know. I think we've just posted this bounty up on the board. Anil's team just added some comments to it. So I don't know if you want to add anything there, but We really are wanting to work with Anil's team on this just because they've been managing everything from the get-go and they have all of the background knowledge, the tribal knowledge to make it happen. So we think that makes the most sense, but definitely open to feedback or comments from anyone else.
The and we've gotten feedback. Some of this feedback in terms of like, you know, decreasing the validator set or increasing the gas, increase proposal minimum, update team wallets for multisig. Sorry, the other ones, the validator ones, the gas, things like that. Those are some of it's just feedback from general feedback from the community or different validators that we've talked with. Um, so there are some things we want to just put on the table, more generally speaking, that might improve security, that we might adjust, that we should just be responding to dynamically as the chain goes through different phases of growth and consolidation. Um, and yeah, so good things to be looking at, but we'll want lots of feedback on that.
Yeah, so
We'll
that's kind
try
of a
to.
separate thing. The first one is just getting this bounty out and getting the proposal up for voting so that we can initiate the claims process as soon as
Yep.
possible. And then separately, we wanted to open the floor, and I think Greg can maybe lead this discussion. He's been having some conversations in Discord about this, of the separate like open items, which are the validator set. We just saw Osmosis passed a proposal to decrease their validator set. So kind of taking their lead on that because it's been something we've been discussing as a core leadership team internally for the last, I don't know, couple months actually. So there's a few things on the table with that we wanted to get feedback on. But Greg, I'll let you
Okay.
take the floor if you want.
So I'm just going to cover four things, and then I'll leave the last one, the multi-sig wallets, for you. The first one is we were just mentioning decrease the validator set. So the justification for that is uh, we have a ton of validators or slots open. There's 100 slots, and only 98 are used. And the security risk to that is, as of a couple days ago when I ran the calculations, it would be less than $400,000 to buy your way into the validator set for the entire 51 bottom slots. And so you could then, you know, send fraudulent transactions through the chain. And so that's a big risk. Like, it is a chunk of money, but it's still a risk to transactions. So we'd like to find a level that decreases the validator set so it's still prohibitively expensive to do that, but that keeps people in the validator set. We'd get rid of uh, some validators that weren't as good uh, providers with like lower end equipment and just have higher quality. The second one is to increase the gas price. So right now it's a tiny, tiny fraction of a cent for a transaction. You've probably seen Jacob Gadikian has been posting a lot about P2P storms and the availability of just blasting blockchains with transactions. If we increase the gas prices, I mean, even if it costs 1 penny, it's still going to be extremely cheap to send transactions, but it'll go a long way to prevent people from taking down the chain. And I was proposing this now before the chain picks up in activity when we go into like passage elite beta and start getting more users on, because we really don't want anybody taking the chain down when it's much more highly used. Um, the next one is increase the proposal minimum. Uh, Recently, we've had some scam proposals because it's just extremely cheap to submit a proposal, and then when it goes on chain, the links in there are often nefarious and people can click on that and get their wallets drained, so we don't want that to happen. And then the last one is to set a minimum validator commission. uh, Often lower commission validators, especially the 0% ones, uh, are more likely to be slashed or to miss blocks, or uh, they just can't afford to run their validators with a 0% commission or a really low commission. So potentially like 5% or 10% minimum validator commission. So we'd have to discuss that. And that's the 4 that I had to cover.
That's great. Thanks for doing that, Greg.
And then the fifth thing is just specific to our team. So right now, our current multi-sig setup, it's from the original leadership team. There are 2 folks who are no longer on the team who no longer have access. I am one of the organizers on our team, and I do not have access to signing multi-sig transactions, which is honestly just a huge pain in the ass for Lex, Errol, and Mike and Ryan. So our proposal would be in this upgrade to also update our team wallets, move the funds over to a new multi-sig setup that I would have access to, which would just greatly alleviate some burden from the rest of our team members. So that's the main thing, just so I have access to staking and delegating, all these things that can be really just prove really tedious and time consuming when only a couple folks have access. So that's the main reasoning behind that. Errol, I know you've had a bunch of discussions around like chain security and validators and things like that. Do you have anything to add to what Greg
All
said?
yeah. One thing to throw in there is that, outside of even just the security risk, it does cost us as a chain something to have
If you're
validators
talking, I
on.
cannot hear you.
No.
Oh, weird. I can hear you.
I can hear him.
Oh, that's crazy.
You
Okay.
can mute here. Can you right click on him, BK, and see if he's
Yeah, maybe you turn down his
Testing 1, 2,
He's
3.
not, but I will refresh.
okay?
Nice. Yeah, so basically, outside of just having the benefit of better security, which I thought was a really good point by Greg, I think also reducing our total validator set also just allows us to reduce the security budget, basically. One of the main selling points that Adam tries to push when they talk about bringing chains onto the hub is reducing your security budget because now you're rolling it all into just the Atom validators, and there is something reasonable to that, and I think that just knowing what is the cost benefit between having additional validators that adds ideally additional security, but to Greg's point, in this case it's not necessarily the case. um, but having a reasonable amount of validators that as they have to cover their costs and have to sell the token to cover their costs, that the pressure that that puts is not being done just because it sounds nice to have 100 validators or something like that. So balancing between those two things, I think, is just another good reason for us to reduce the validator set. It isn't a free thing to have open validator slots. Someone tell Brianna that I'm done talking, just in case you still can't
I
hear me.
can I can hear you. I mean, we've got some other validators in the group if anyone else wants to add to this conversation, just because it does directly impact you all.
It looks like Anil is throwing in the potential suggestion of becoming a roll up. I don't know how that would work with still having the passage token and having all payments run through Passage Elite, but maybe it's something that we'd want to talk about having.
Let's just include it in the conversation. Yeah, and we don't have to like iterate on that live. But totally down to us to just evaluate what's the goal here, right? Obviously, the goal is security, decentralization, but also utility, right? Ensuring that we can make sure that the platform is delivering on the features that make any of this meaningful, right? Because securing the value on the chain and decentralizing the value on the chain are only valuable insofar as they support what is the value of the chain, what's the purpose of it. We can kind of just look at the options and
As
we'll
long
get
as they
everyone's
support
feedback.
the
And
Yeah, as long as they support
maybe
the
more people
business
are interested in
model.
that, maybe not. Again, Right, exactly. It's got to support the feature set that is leveraging these decentralized this decentralized tooling. Um, but cool, yeah. Let's iterate on that conversation and let's just like cook on it for a minute.
Yep.
I know some of these things might be a little bit more high priority, like the stuff for the staking, but we'll separate these into different proposals anyways. Drop. Like that's a little bit more time sensitive. But again, each of these can kind of be their own piece, and we'll just iterate on the discussion to nail down some of the details.
Yeah, so I think immediately, I will post the first chain upgrade proposal for the airdrop, just to get some feedback. Again, we already have an open discussion with VitWit, to move that forward, but being that it's a bounty, we want to have it open for, other people to give feedback if you have thoughts. But that is kind of time is of the essence just because that period ends in about 10 days. So we're looking to move that forward. We don't want to have too much of a gap between when the staking period ends and like when people can start claiming their airdrops. So we've got some fun things
Yeah.
planned for that community coming up soon. So it'll be good to get them kind of re-engaged after this long year plus staking period.
Heck yeah.
I think
Anything else we need to talk through?
no, I think those are the main things. I think we're in a good place. We've got a lot of things unblocked now that the indexer is done. And a lot of things that were still open last month that we've confirmed and assigned. So I think we're in a good place.
Do we know when
Sweet. Yeah.
uh am I delayed? I think I might be delayed.
No,
I
you're good.
think
I
so,
hear
or
you.
Lex.
Okay,
Oh.
cool. Do we know when the oh man, I'm blanking on their team's name. The team that was blocked, that is now not blocked. It is
Node Fleet.
Nodefleet. Um, do we know if Nodefleet has has a timeline at this point now that they are unblocked?
So they actually were going to today share an update and link to the demo. So I haven't seen that come through yet. I think the Adrian and I don't remember who else was working on it. He wasn't able to join the meeting, but he is going to share an update. So we can drop that in chat as soon as they get it over to us as well.
Lowell.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. BitThinker, we can follow up with you. We're always trying to like take different pieces of this and get it to a place where people can contribute in various ways. It can be tough when it's a small task. Funny enough, because the small tasks like everything takes discussion here, and so the small tasks it almost feels like it's not worth it to like unbundle it from a group. But there are lots of ways that we can strategize to get more contributors involved and then build up a solid talent pool. So definitely stay connected to this group. And the ones who are probably everyone who's here right now in this chat would be a good person to talk to about getting involved. So, like,
Right. Because you
Brianna
could
and
potentially even participate on a team level. Like you can get
yes.
involved. Like if you're working with a team, there might be ways in which you could coordinate. You just got to find, somebody who's working on something where you might be able to contribute and look for opportunities to jump in. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you can, like the an important thing is going to be like what skill sets can you bring to the table, and making sure that those teams know that you have those skill sets.
Yeah.
And then for us, it becomes a lot easier to use people who are either a part of a group or you know eventually we might get to the point where it becomes easier to use individuals, but that can sometimes be challenging because a lot of these are like large rock things that are getting accomplished. So
Yeah. Beans. Sweet. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, keep an eye out for some of the stuff. We'll be dropping updates on the marketplace and the indexer. We'll continue the discussion on the blockchain parameters, and yeah, lots of cool things. And we should have a flurry of momentum coming up on the beta launch. Obviously, we've got some new people who are using Passage. We'll have some new ways people are using Passage, and I'm excited. Should be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
all right,
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody.
Go team, go. Stay Dragon, fam.
Cheers.